And now we have two fierce actresses who are breaking all kinds of boundaries. We have Poorna Jagannathan, who plays Nalini on Netflix's hit Mindy Kaling created Never Have I Ever. Hi.
Hi.
Good to have you here. And we also have Poonam Patel, who was Emmy nominated for her role on the Netflix.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so you guys are offering the kinds of representation on TV that our communities are so hungry for, but not only our communities, all of America, it's Netflix, so all of the world is tuning in. I want to talk to you guys about that a little bit. So Poorna, I'll just start with you.
Yeah.
Why is having diversity on TV important? And I want to particularly ask you, what do you think the impact of Never Have I Ever, which by the way, I think was the #1 streamer, yes? For
around the world. It was insane.
Around the world, featuring an Indian American family.
Wow.
Or The Night Of, which you also were so amazing on, which featured a Pakistani American Muslim family. What impact can shows like that have?
Well, I think from a very personal point of view, as when we're represented, when minorities are represented in the media, we show up as very incomplete, right? We are bit players. A lot of times we're little checks that the production houses can check off as, yes, we've made a diverse hire. And very often, you were mentioning a little before, we're the comic relief. We show up as, providing a little bit of someone to make fun of. And the way I look at it is we're usually the punchline and we're never the plot line, right? Mm-hmm. And the problem with being a bit player, the problem with presenting an incomplete picture is that none of our struggles and none of our pain is ever represented. I mean, certainly, I know that's certainly very true for me. All my experiences, all my parents' experiences, what we've come through. I'm an immigrant. My parents are immigrants. I mean, none of that has any space and any breath to show up. And I think, and I look back at shows like Transparent, the massive impact of showing communities different from ours. What it has is it creates empathy for that community. It creates acceptance for that community. And, I think that's really like when you see Asians on TV, when you see immigrants on TV, when shows like The Night Of or Never Have I Ever show up, it provides an opportunity for the wider mainstream audience to get to know us better, to create more empathy for us, to create more acceptance for us, to feel our struggles and pains like their own. And it works. Both The Night Off and Never Have I Ever have two Asian leads at the center of it, and that's amazing. We're not steeped in caricatures. We're not steeped in cartoons. We're not bit players. And it's empowering to see, and it's empowering to be seen. I think that's the biggest feedback. There's a sense of belonging that people get from seeing people like us on TV.
I love what you said about it building empathy and creating understanding. It's a theme that so many of the speakers today have brought up. This, all the way back to it was just like a half an hour ago, but it feels so long ago in my head because I've been hosting this thing. But even back to Hudson.
Real quick, I can hear Poorna, but I can't hear you, Malik. So Poorna, you might have to translate for me if you speak to me.
Oh, that's good to know.
Technology.
Okay. So, well, that's awkward. I wonder if I don't know what would be causing that.
You said it's awkward.
I know.
Peace out.
Super awkward. Well, okay.
Not all Indians are good at tech. Okay, there it is.
Oh my gosh, I'm wondering if headphones would help, but I don't know why that would be different. So, well, let me just do this. Let me.
You ask me the question you want to ask Poonam, and I'll ask.
Okay. So, what I wanted to say first though is that we've heard this idea that that building educating people about who we are, reduces hate. And so I love what you said about having those characters on TV can also do that same thing. They can build empathy. Yeah. Maybe you can help Punam that.
Educating characters and who we are reduces hate. So, you know, the fact that you see characters on TV that look like us and creates empathy works towards lessening hate, something like that.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was pretty
absolutely, good. Yeah. I feel like also when we're showed as like not just one category, we're not just the Indian person, it really helps humanize us. Like on Special, I feel like I'm curvy, I'm Indian, I'm sassy, I'm insecure, I'm flawed, I'm a friend, I'm an employee, I'm a writer. And it shows that like, just like every other human, we have so many layers to us, and our identity, a big part of it is made up by our cultural background, but it's also made up by all these other things that have influenced us to become who we are.
Poorna, could you ask Punam I would love to talk about the whole body image thing, because that's something that I think a lot of kids are bullied about, and I also think that it's something that, you know, we're very aware of intersectionality at Act to Change, and this idea that you might be being bullied for your race and your physical appearance on other levels. So I would love to ask you
talk about body image. I have the worst memory, so I have to. Like,
I'm sorry.
He wants to talk about body image. He wants to talk about, you know, a lot of kids. He wants to talk about intersectionality because kids can be bullied for race as well as what they look like. Anything else, Malik?
No, just that you've been such a vocal advocate around body image, and if she could just speak to that a little bit.
You've been such a vocal advocate for body image, if you can just speak to it.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel like my whole life, I've always been chubby, curvy, fat, whatever phrase you're comfortable with. And I feel like, especially in Indian culture, like we are very blunt. I don't know about your family, but like all my aunties and uncles, and they're not saying it with bad intention, but like, people talk about your weight and your body like they're talking about the shirt you wear. They're like, oh, that's a beautiful shade of yellow. You've gained weight. And I think it comes off in their mind as pretty harmless, but then a lifetime of that really does build up and affect you, in addition to the societal standards that are put upon you. And I know growing up for me, definitely didn't see any Indian people on TV besides, you know, Bollywood. And the few fat or curvy women I saw on TV were always the butt of the joke. Even in Bollywood, I think the only curvy Indian woman I saw was this actress, Tuntun. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, I do.
But anytime she was on screen, all they were doing was making fun of how fat or aggressive she was, literally like sitting on, you know, skinny little Indian men. And like, that's hilarious. And I think even during this like pandemic, I've seen so many memes and GIFs of like, oh, my body after quarantine is going to be like this. And they'll show an image of like a fat cat. I saw one that was an image of a little girl holding her stomach. And I think it's like we become numb to it. So it's easy to be like, haha, yeah, we're going to be fat, but we don't actually explore, well, what's so bad about that? And why is that a joke? Mm-hmm. And why, if you gain weight and look closer to me than, you know, Gigi Hadid, is that funny or bad in any way? And so I think normalizing people of all different shapes and sizes and showing them on TV, not just for their shape and size, and letting them exist alongside everyone else like they do in real life, helps us not see it as other so much, you know?
Mm-hmm. Thanks so much. We only have like 2 minutes left, sadly, but I wanted to ask you a really, really quick question for you, Poorna. Mm-hmm. I know that you made a film about gang rape in Delhi, and I think that there's a connection there around taboo topics and things we don't like to talk about as a culture. Mm-hmm. And certainly a lot of kids who are bullied internalize the shame and don't know how to speak up about things that are happening to them. I just wonder if you could offer any words of advice to young people who might feel shame around speaking up, and what allowed you to speak up?
Yeah, the piece is actually a play. It's a play called Nirbhaya, which translates into The Fearless One in Hindi. And we actually use the events of the gang rape and subsequent death of Jyoti Singh Pandey as a springboard to talk about our own stories of sexual violence and gender-based violence. So I spoke about my own rape at 9 years old, and I was joined on stage by 4 other women telling their own stories of rape and gender-based violence. And you know, the piece was really, it was built by Yael Farber. And I have to say that the piece was built out of pure rage. And as an Indian woman, being rageful is not something that I'm used to or am encouraged to embrace. But when the incident happened, when the gang rape happened, the whole country was outraged, and I was completely beside myself with being livid. And it's because all of us had been silent for so long about this violence and shame that we've all carried for so long. And, you know, when that gang rape happened in Delhi, I and everyone else was like, enough is enough. I'm done. I'm done thinking that it was something I did. I'm done thinking it was my fault. I'm done being shameful about it. You know, I'm ready to shift the shame from me onto my perpetrators. I'm done carrying it. And it was such a breakthrough for me and my castmates. We did this in 2013, and you know what we felt coming at us, the tsunami of what we felt coming at us was the beginning of the Me Too movement. You know, it was every night the audience would get up from their seats and say, "This happened to me too, and I'm done with it too." I will say after, you know, it was pivotal. I turned 40 the year that I did it, and I will say my mental, my physical health has hugely shifted and improved from speaking my own truth. I occupy space very differently. I'm unafraid of anything that's happened to me because it is my story. It's kind of like owning the events of your own life, your own story is the most powerful thing you can do. It's the same for bullying, you know?
Yeah, thank you so much for saying. I feel like so many kids who are watching today, and hopefully Poonam, when she goes back and watches this herself, will be so, well, she can hear you, but she can't hear me, but will be so so moved and so inspired to hear that actually sharing their truth allows that kind of physical and mental freedom. So thank you so much for sharing that. I wish we could spend so much time together, but I have to move on, sadly. I am so grateful to both of you. I have to go. I'm so grateful to both of you for being here today.
Thank you for having us on such an important panel. Really, thank you for all your work. Thank you, Poonam.
Thanks, Poonam.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.